Imagine settling in for the night, remote in hand, ready to unwind with your favorite late-night show. The familiar glow of the television fills the room, and you expect the usual blend of humor and celebrity interviews. But tonight, something feels different. There's a tension in the air, a sense that what's about to happen will be talked about for days to come. Suddenly, the host, Jimmy Kimmel, finds himself at the center of a national firestorm, not because of a punchline gone wrong, but because of a comment he makes about a recent tragic event. The audience is stunned, and the news cycle erupts almost instantly. On September 10, 2025, the country was shaken by the news that conservative activist Charlie Kirk had been killed. The tragedy dominated headlines, leaving many Americans in shock and mourning. Just a few days later, Kimmel addressed the political fallout on his show. But instead of healing wounds, his remarks were widely seen as insensitive and deeply offensive, sparking outrage across the nation. Social media exploded with criticism, and the controversy quickly spiraled out of control. In response to the uproar, ABC made the unprecedented decision to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live, a move almost unheard of for such a prominent late-night host. The studio went dark, and the future of the show was suddenly uncertain. The suspension ignited a fierce nationwide debate. People everywhere began to ask, should there be limits on what can be said on television, especially in the wake of a national tragedy? Or does comedy have a special license to push boundaries, even when emotions are raw? Some viewers and commentators applauded ABC for taking a stand and holding Kimmel accountable for his words, arguing that public figures have a responsibility to show respect and sensitivity. Others, however, saw the suspension as a dangerous threat to free speech, warning that silencing comedians could set a troubling precedent for creative expression and open debate. The controversy quickly grew beyond just one comedian or one network. It became a test of how America balances sensitivity, respect for tragedy, and the fundamental right to express controversial or unpopular opinions. The backlash was swift and intense. Politicians, celebrities, and everyday viewers all weighed in, each with their own perspective on where the line should be drawn. Was ABC protecting the public from harm, or was this a case of censorship? The question sparked heated arguments in living rooms, newsrooms, and online forums across the country. In the end, the story set the stage for a national conversation about the boundaries of comedy, the responsibilities of public figures, and the ever-evolving debate over free expression in America. On September 15, 2025, Jimmy Kimmel opened his show with a monologue about Charlie Kirk's death. The country was still reeling, and emotions were high. Kimmel criticized those blaming the political left for the tragedy, accusing them of exploiting Kirk's death for political gain. Then, he made a controversial joke suggesting the accused killer might actually be aligned with the right, not the left. The studio audience reacted with uneasy laughter and silence. Online, outrage exploded. Clips of the monologue went viral within minutes. Many felt Kimmel's joke was cruel and disrespectful to Kirk's family. The backlash wasn't just about politics, it was about turning a tragedy into a punchline. The controversy quickly grew beyond the show, fueling a national debate. Kimmel's words had crossed a line for many viewers. The firestorm was officially underway. To understand the uproar, let's look at Kimmel's exact words. He began by acknowledging Kirk's death, then criticized the right for blaming the left. Kimmel argued it was wrong to politicize a tragedy, but then joked that the accused killer looked like one of them. Many interpreted this as Kimmel accusing the right of being responsible for the crime. For Kirk's supporters, it felt like a personal attack and a baseless conspiracy. The joke was seen as insensitive, especially so soon after the tragedy. Critics accused Kimmel of hypocrisy, preaching unity while fueling division. The comment turned a segment about political division into a national flashpoint. For many, it was no longer just a bad joke. It was a sign of media bias. The outrage only intensified. The backlash put immense pressure on ABC and its parent company, Disney. The controversy quickly escalated beyond the entertainment world, drawing attention from politicians, advocacy groups, and viewers across the country. Suddenly, the network found itself at the center of a national firestorm, with every move scrutinized by the public and the press. Social media erupted with calls to fire Kimmel and boycott the network. Hashtags trended worldwide, and thousands of posts poured in every hour, amplifying the outrage and making it impossible for ABC to ignore the growing demands for action. Major advertisers and affiliate stations threatened to pull support. The financial stakes were enormous, as sponsors worried about their brands being associated with controversy, and local stations feared losing viewers. On September 17th, ABC announced Jimmy Kimmel Live was suspended indefinitely. The announcement sent shockwaves through the industry, as few expected such a decisive response. Their statement called Kimmel's comments ill-timed and insensitive, but stopped short of firing him. ABC emphasized its commitment to responsible broadcasting while also acknowledging the complexity of the situation. Suspending such a popular show was a drastic move, signaling the seriousness of the controversy. It was a rare step for a network to take, especially with a flagship program. ABC tried to balance public outrage with protecting one of its biggest stars. Behind closed doors, executives debated the risks and weighed the potential fallout from every possible decision. The suspension was a corporate timeout, giving everyone space to cool off. It was a pause, not a conclusion, as the network hoped tensions would ease with time. Kimmel reportedly agreed with the decision after discussions with the network. He understood the gravity of the situation and the need for a measured response. The show went dark, and the nation waited for the next move. Fans and critics alike speculated about what would happen next, as uncertainty hung in the air. The decision was meant to calm the storm, but it only fueled more debate. Newsrooms and living rooms buzzed with arguments about free speech, responsibility, and the power of public opinion. Was this accountability, or was it censorship? The question echoed across the country, sparking passionate discussions about where to draw the line. The stakes for television and free speech had never been higher, and the outcome would set a precedent for years to come. While some supported ABC's decision, others saw it as dangerous censorship. Free speech advocates argued that suspending Kimmel set a chilling precedent. They warned that comedians would become afraid to tackle controversial topics. The involvement of government officials like FCC Chairman Brendan Carr heightened fears of state interference. Critics called this a violation of the First Amendment. They insisted the answer to offensive speech is more speech, not silencing voices. The suspension became a symbol of corporate and government overreach. Defenders argued that letting companies or officials decide what's acceptable is a slippery slope. The backlash was about more than Kimmel. It was about protecting a core American value. Hollywood quickly rallied around Kimmel. Over 400 actors, writers, and comedians signed a letter defending his right to speak freely. They warned that silencing one comedian threatened the entire profession. Other late-night hosts, like Seth Meyers, used their shows to defend free expression, arguing that comedy must be provocative. The suspension was seen as a warning to all comedians: push boundaries at your own risk. Not everyone agreed. Roseanne Barr, who lost her own show after a controversial tweet, pointed out what she saw as a double standard. Her reaction highlighted the complexity of the issue, even within Hollywood. The controversy united some, divided others, and forced the entertainment industry to confront its own values. For many, the fight was about more than Kimmel. It was about the future of comedy. The stakes for creative freedom had never felt higher. The industry was on edge. The controversy quickly became political. Former President Trump celebrated Kimmel's suspension as a victory. His team insisted the decision was ABC's alone, not government censorship. Meanwhile, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, often at odds with Kimmel, condemned the FCC's threats as dangerous. Cruz argued that government should never decide what speech is allowed, even if he disagreed with Kimmel. Democrats were divided, uncomfortable with Kimmel's joke, but wary of the precedent set by his suspension. The debate revealed deep contradictions. Some conservatives cheered the silencing of a critic, while others defended his right to speak. The controversy blurred political lines, uniting unlikely allies in defense of free speech. The Kimmel incident exposed America's complicated relationship with speech, power, and politics. The debate was far from over. The Kimmel affair boiled down to two clashing values: sensitivity versus free speech. Supporters of the suspension argued that words have consequences, especially on national TV after a tragedy. They believed ABC had a responsibility to avoid broadcasting content that could deepen wounds or promote division. For them, this was about accountability, not censorship. On the other side, free speech advocates warned that silencing Kimmel was a greater harm. They argued that confronting bad ideas with better ones, not censorship, keeps public debate healthy. The threat of government involvement made the stakes even higher. The controversy forced America to confront where it draws the line. The suspension and return of Jimmy Kimmel Live became a powerful lesson in the ongoing challenges of free speech in a deeply divided America. It wasn't just about one show or one host, it was about the larger struggle over who gets to speak, what can be said, and how society responds when lines are crossed or challenged. The show's week-long absence didn't end the debate, it intensified it, sparking heated conversations both online and in living rooms across the country. People questioned not only the network's decision, but also the boundaries of comedy and the role of late-night television in shaping public opinion. The incident showed how quickly outrage can pressure even the biggest networks, forcing them to respond in real time to public sentiment and media scrutiny. In today's digital age, reactions are immediate and often overwhelming, making it harder for networks to find steady ground. For TV, it was a wake-up call. Hosts must balance entertainment with responsibility, knowing that every joke or comment can have far-reaching consequences. The spotlight is brighter than ever, and the stakes are higher for everyone involved. ABC's actions highlighted the tightrope network's walk between creative freedom and public accountability. Every decision is scrutinized, and the pressure to satisfy both audiences and advertisers is immense. For free speech, the backlash against the suspension was a rare moment of unity across political lines. People from all backgrounds came together to defend the principle, even if they disagreed on the specifics. The controversy proved that Americans still fiercely defend the right to speak, even when they disagree. It's a reminder that free speech is a core value, but also a source of constant tension and debate. But it also showed the difficulty of balancing free expression with empathy and respect. The challenge is to allow open dialogue while ensuring that conversations remain thoughtful and inclusive. The Kimmel story is a reminder that these debates are far from settled. Each new controversy brings fresh questions about where the lines should be drawn and who gets to decide. The conversation about speech, comedy, and responsibility will continue to shape our media and our democracy for years to come, challenging us to think critically about the power and limits of our words.